Hello everybody, it's Timothy here. Welcome to another discovery walk with me in my channel. I hope you are going to enjoy today's walk. Today we are going to walk this road. This one behind us. I'm going to turn the video around now. Okay, now we have turned around. This one is Light Street. I already have a video on Light Street. And as you know, I do my videos in an encyclopedic nature so that I can embed on my Penang Travel Tips website. And so today we are going to walk this one. This one is called Pinang Street. Yeah, it is a very old name, and because we are in Penang itself, so for sure Captain Francis Light, when he started this settlement, he called this Penang Street. Or rather, if we look at very old maps, in the oldest map, the Potham map of 1798, I think, it was known as China Street. But by 1803, the name Penang Street has appeared for this road. So now we call this Penang Street or Lebo Penang, and here are buildings that are built in the first half of the 20th century. And usually, many of the most beautiful buildings in Georgetown are built between 1900 and 1930. And then at 1930, the Great Depression brought an end, in a way, to many of the construction. And over on this side it used to be the bungalow of the tycoon, the early 20th century tycoon, Fu Tai-sin. And right now is the Hong Leong Bank building, and there is an interpretation board over here that you can learn a little bit about this building. But this building was originally Fu Tai-sin Mansion, the mansion for the 20th century tycoon Fu Tai-sin. And if you had the chance to look at very old photographs of this building, you will see that in the old days, there would be a Chinese arch over here. There will be a Chinese arch over here, and there will be walls around the compound. But the walls have since been removed, so now you can see directly into this beautiful building. And if you look right up at the top, you will see the air vent for what I would call the double happiness Chinese character. Yeah, this Chinese character you can often see during people's wedding, and you can see that on the event to mean double prosperity or double happiness for this particular building. And today it is occupied by Hong Leong Bank. And to the side of this building, it has been rented out for a bistro. So there's a bistro right next to it. And on this side is the Chinese Chamber of Commerce. The Chinese Chamber of Commerce building is here, and then there is an annex over on that side, so that it goes all the way, occupying the entire block from this road, which is Penang Street, all the way to the next one, which is King Street. So this beautiful building wraps its way all around here. And if you look down here, there is a form of moldings or rustication on the street side frontage of the building. This is something which I think is almost like law during that time, that if you are to build buildings, you need to put this form of decorative element here. These lines across, that's what I call the zebra lines across the buildings, and you can find this in most of the bigger, grander buildings in Georgetown, such as those along China Street God, which I did a video earlier, and I can put the link to that video also so that you can see that one. And then from here onwards, I believe there are 9 houses belonging to the same person. That would be, if I'm not mistaken, that would be Yap Choi, and that's why this first one of them is called House of Yap Choi. And because of the 9 houses belonging to the same property millionaire of the early part of the 20th century, this part was known to the Hokkien as Gao Keng Chu. Gao Keng Chu means a row of 9 houses. Gao Keng Chu. So, but when I counted, there are actually 14 houses on this row. So I'm not sure where that exact 9 houses are. But nevertheless, this part of Penang Street is known as Gao Keng Chu. And so this video is all about walking this Penang Street from end to end so that I will explain to you all the buildings that you see here. And if you look at these buildings, you will notice that they are called shop houses because many of these are what shops would be at the bottom and residence would be at the top. Even though if the whole thing is residences, by right it would be known as townhouse. But if you are in the property business as I am, you will know that in Malaysia, when you say townhouse, it means a different type of house altogether. In Malaysia, townhouse means a sort of an apartment where the residents at the bottom and the residents at the top are different owners. But elsewhere, you will understand that the whole thing, if it is residences, it will be a townhouse because it's a house in town. We are in the central business district of Georgetown, and so there will be many office workers as well as those offering auxiliary services to the workers, and so you will find many kiosks like this one. So from this kiosk, the working class can come over here and get their fill for the breakfast, and see, this is one of them where they will congregate for breakfast. And I walk this way. In front of us is Merlin Hotel. This is at the junction of Penang Street and Union Street. And I will do a walk of Union Street in future. But I just want to show you this is Penang Street. And this is one of the buildings in the early modern style. So there are different elements, different architectural design for the buildings in Georgetown. If you are a student of architecture, Georgetown is such a wonderful place to explore because there are so many different types of building design, from the classical, neoclassical, sometimes you will see Palladian style, sometimes you will see Art Deco style, sometimes you will see arts and crafts style. So yeah, and of course there's also the early modern style buildings, followed by the contemporary modern buildings or international style. So there's a lot of different styles of buildings just walking the streets of Georgetown. So right now we are at the junction of Union Street and Pinang Street, and we are going to continue this way. Oh, I can see over there that they are now putting up a charging station for electric vehicles. So I can say that even in Georgetown itself, electric vehicles is making a big comeback entrance into Penang, and very soon more and more gasoline vehicles will be replaced with electric vehicles. And now on this side are the nine houses, or Kao Keng Chu in Penang Hokkien. Even though, as I said, I counted it and I counted 14. So if you were to say 14 houses, it will be Tap Si Keng Chu. Tap Si Keng Chu. And you will see that some of these houses have their original wooden shutters, and some have been renovated. And now we are walking towards the first intersection. That will be the intersection between Penang Street and Bishop Street. So, of course, for every single different street, I will do a separate video of it so that I can embed it on my Penang Travel Tips website, so that people looking for information not only get to read about the street, they also get to view a video where I explain the street. Over on this side is Central College, and it is housed in possibly the tallest building in the heritage zone of Georgetown. Yeah, we are now in the UNESCO World Heritage Site of Georgetown, and this building was erected before Georgetown was inscribed as a World Heritage Site. Ever since then, there is now height control on the height of buildings erected in this part of town, and so you won't get to see a building of this height erected anymore in this part of town. So this is the last of the Mohicans of the tall buildings in this part of Georgetown. But elsewhere in Penang, you will see very, very tall buildings, much taller than this one. I'm going to walk to this side of the road so that you can have a look at this glass facade building. So this is the glass facade building, which is Central College. It used to originally be a bank. It was D and C Bank a long time ago. The bank has since is now defunct, having been merged with other banks and turned into what we know today as the successor is now CIMB Bank. So once upon a time that this was D and C Bank, and this D and C Bank occupied this spot, which, if I'm not mistaken, was a memorial. It could either be a church or a memorial. It could either be the original site of the Armenian church. I could be wrong. I'm still trying to find out whether it is the Armenian church or it is just a memorial for an Armenian memorial. But over on this side, and I'm going to cross the road now. This road is Bishop Street. On this side, from here until here, occupying the entire block. In the past, before all these modern buildings come about, was the original site of the Church of the Assumption. So if I will do a walk on the Farquhar Street where you see the present Church of the Assumption. But before the Church of the Assumption was erected over there, it occupied this spot. With the frontage over on King Street. Over that side is King Street, and this side is Penang Street. So on this side was the original Church of the Assumption. That's what I know. Of course, I wasn't there yet. I was born in 1965, a long time after the church has moved to its present site. And now let's go this way. And you can see this is Penang Street. Okay, Lebo Penang or Penang Street. I just quickly want to say that I'm very happy that I was instrumental in selecting the design for the road signs a long time ago when it was shown to us. I was then a council member at Penang Heritage Trust, and we get to see the different road signs that they have, and then they get our opinion, and I wanted to have something that is quite simple and like this, and so this is the road sign that was selected for use all over Penang, and I like the design. It is so simple. Now, as you walk this way, you will see that many of the businesses are Indian. And it might surprise you to know that, the Indian community in Georgetown occupies much of this area, which is the original grid of Georgetown. So when Francis Light established his settlement here on the Prince of Wales Island, he drew out the original map of the area, so that is the original grid of roads which crisscross each other. And the first of this road that goes north-south is Penang Street. And the occupants of that whole area are mostly either Indians or Chinese. Sometimes there are more Indians, sometimes there are more Chinese. So these two communities would increase or decrease. Sometimes when there are more Indians, then the Indians will occupy the properties that were originally Chinese, and sometimes the Chinese will occupy the properties that were originally Indians. This area used to be very Chinese, or rather in particular very Cantonese. So this area was Cantonese. As you can understand, in Penang, the main Chinese community is Hokkien. However, despite it being Hokkien, the second largest community is Cantonese. I myself am Cantonese actually. I am Taishanese. So I am a Taishanese Cantonese living in a place where I speak Penang Hokkien. And as we walk this way, you will see that punctuating the otherwise Indian businesses are also still Chinese businesses, but the Indians are once again making an inroad here as well as all the way here. So if you love Indian food, that's plenty all over this part of Georgetown. There's over there's the lift. That is vegetarian. But other than that, there will be many Indian businesses and Indian food that you can enjoy here. But if you want hawker food, Penang hawker food, then you can get it from a place like this one. And I love this building, even though it could have been better restored, because it's so beautiful. Can you see those pediments? Those like little roofs over the columns, and then they have columns of pilasters and so on. This is such a beautiful building. Here we are now at the junction of Church Street. This is Church Street and this is Pinang Street. Yeah, if you walk and explore Georgetown, you will see many such buildings and many wonderful sights. And there's this signboard that points you to go this way to the St. George's Church, go that way to the Nagao Shrine, all the way until Julia Street, and then go that way to the Sri Mahamariamman Temple. Yeah. But on this side, this is the, let me cross the road. This is a Cantonese association, the Guangdong and Tingzhou Association of Penang. So among the duties of this association, this is a Cantonese association, is to take charge of the burial plots or the Cantonese cemeteries and burial plots. And for that reason, as I mentioned earlier, this part used to be predominantly Cantonese, so much so that it was called Kentang Ke or Cantonese Street. And as I walk this way, you will see that most of the buildings, the businesses nowadays, are no longer Cantonese or Chinese, but rather Indian. Nevertheless, punctuating them are delightful places such as this one. There's Mushi Temple. This one is a Cantonese clan temple, and this is for the people with the surname Moy. So the name Moy, surname clan temple, and the Moy people hails from the Taishan area of Canton. So they are like myself, I'm also Taishanese. So this is more or less like a temple for the Taishanese, for people like me. Unfortunately, or rather, however, I am Christian, so I don't worship. On this side is Woodlands Vegetarian Restaurant, which is one of my favorite places to go for vegetarian food. So my wife and I love to come over here for vegetarian food. But that's not the only place. There's so many other places that you can go for Indian cuisine, authentic Indian cuisine, almost the same as if you were to have them in India itself, or in particular Southern India, because most of the Indians here in Georgetown come from Southern India, in places such as Tamil Nadu, and so they brought with them their cuisine and things like biryani. You can get it here. And so left and right are businesses catering to the Indian community. There are textile shops. So if you want costumes, Indian style costume, you can get it from here. So we are actually penetrating Little India now. Even though every once in a while, we will be reminded that once upon a time, the Chinese also had its presence here. So in a way, the Chinese has left this part of town, this part that is very much Little India, but their presence can still be seen here. Like this building, this used to be the oldest Chinese medical hall in Southeast Asia. Yeah, this one, the name is Ren Ai Tang, and the business has been here all along until I think quite recently, until just about 10 years ago when it moved out. So it has been operating continuously all the while. And here we are now at China Street. So it's almost odd that the name of the street is China Street, but if you look all around you, you'll see mostly Indian businesses, except for a few, like over here there is this Chinese kopitiam or coffee shop. But aside from this, looking this way, you'll see mostly Indian all the way. And here this is Sri Ananda Bhavan, an Indian restaurant with many branches all over. It has branches all over. So this is one of the many popular Indian restaurants here in Penang, Sri Ananda Bhavan. This one is with meat, right? Over there is vegetarian, right?
Yes.
This one is the Sri Ananda Bhavan with meat products. But there is another outlet over there where it's all vegetarian products. Okay, see ya.
Thank you.
And now we are crossing Penang Street, China Street to go this way. And we are still going along Penang Street. And we are in the thick of the Little India of Georgetown. So looking this way, you can see Indian businesses catering mostly to the Indian community, selling flowers, garlands, and religious paraphernalia, followed by clothing. So it's almost like walking through Delhi or Bombay right now. So even there's jewelry, shoes, everything Indian. So this particular stretch of Little India is all entirely Indian businesses. And anytime you want to have something to eat, yeah, there's plenty of food for you to try. This one is specializing in Indian style sweets, and the word thali actually refers to a sort of the stainless steel plate where you have your meal. But in addition to that, it has a huge variety of Indian style sweets. Let me show you. Okay, so these are the Indian candies. These are the different Indian candies. Absolutely sweet. I love it, but I dare not eat it too often because it's so incredibly sweet. So these are the Indian style sweets that we have over here in this shop. This shop specializes in this Indian style sweets. As you can see, they're so beautiful. You can see these are so absolutely beautiful Indian style candies. So many different types. I really enjoy eating all this, but I always have to be careful because it's so easy to put on weight. So these are all the Indian food. Thank you. Bye bye. So we are passing through Little India right now. So there's a jewelry shop over here and toy shop. My battery ran out on my DJI Pocket 2 suddenly, and so I have to put on my second DJI Pocket 2 to continue this video. Yeah. So we are now continuing our walk along Penang Street in Little India part of Georgetown. And over here, this road is called Market Street, and I'll do a walk on Market Street one day also, so that every single street in Pinang, I will have a video for it to be embedded on my website. But to view all my videos, go to my YouTube channel, Discover with Timothy, for place videos. I have a separate a separate YouTube channel called PG Food Channel where I show food, another channel for properties, and another channel for Penang Hokkien. So yeah, at least 4 different channels aside from actually there are some other channels, but and as a result of that, I almost have no time. Because I'm always updating this channel, that channel, this website, and so on. And now we are leaving the what I would call the epicenter of Little India, and you will see that over there is the noisiest. But as you come this way, it's mostly now jewelry shop, and it's getting slightly more quiet now. Coming this way. So this is away from the crowds of Little India. This part is quieter. And this part is known by the Hokkien as the Chetia Street, Chetia Ke, because the Chetias, which are moneylenders from southern India, they have their building here, their properties here, like this one and the one over there. So these properties are owned by the Chetias, which are the money lenders, the merchants in this area. And as I turn this way, I want to show you this huge door. This building that is actually a huge gate. There's a gate so big that has to be a smaller gate, a smaller door right here with giant size padlocks. And do you have any idea what lies behind this particular huge door? Yeah, behind this huge door is the chariot of Lord Murugan, the Indian deity that would parade down the street from here all the way to the temple, the Balatandadu Tapani temple in Waterfall. So from here to the waterfall, this chariot will come out of here and go down across Georgetown to the Balatandayu Tapani temple in the Penang Botanic Gardens, and that's being done annually during Thaipusam. So the Thaipusam will start from here down the road, and during Thaipusam, this whole area will be so jam-packed with people. And as I go this way, I will show you this is the Chetia building. I think it's called Chetia Ketangi or something like that. So these are all Chetia properties on this part of Penang Street, with businesses owned by those from the Indian community. So the Indian community has very much entrenched itself on this part of Georgetown, and you might be surprised that it used to be even larger. The Indian community used to populate an area that is even larger, going all the way to Pinang Road, present-day Penang Road. That's why places such as Chaurasta Market used to be an Indian market, but the Chinese people came and they took over areas. Similarly, as we walk along Penang Road, Penang Street, you will see that there are businesses that were originally Chinese that now have been taken over by the Indian community. So it's between these two communities that the businesses go back and forth between the Indians and the Chinese. And now we are coming almost to the end of Penang Street. And with that, we come to the end of this particular video. And here, this is where Penang Street meets Julia Street. And I have a video of Julia Street. I will also put the link here so that you can follow on to Julia Street if you so wish. And here's the signboard for Lebo Penang or Penang Street. buildings in the early modern style and more contemporary design of buildings here at Penang Street. And we have walked all the way from over Light Street. We passes by the junction with Union Street, and then Bishop Street, and then Church Street, and then China Street, and then finally we arrive here at Julia Street. And Julia Street, the word Julia itself means Indian. So the word Julia means Indian because the businesses in this part of town used to be almost entirely Indian. But if you look here, you will see a lot of Chinese businesses here because the Chinese expanded their presence, particularly in the second part of the 19th century. And so I'm going to turn the video around again. That's where we are, my friend. We have just walked Penang Street. I hope you enjoyed joining me in this video where we discovered Penang Street, and you'll get all the information that I have researched and were able to share with you. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give it a like so that YouTube will show it to more people, especially people who are coming to Penang to discover Penang, to explore Penang. I hope that this information will be helpful to them. And also, write a comment. Tell me what you like to see in Penang or even elsewhere. What I can do to show you of Penang. I know I'm not very prolific. I can't produce videos fast enough because I have so many different YouTube channels. So I'm always doing videos for different channel of mine. Sometimes about this, sometimes it's about that. And so I try to distribute my time between all the different channels. But if you enjoy exploring Penang, please subscribe to Discover with Penang. And for now, click on one of the thumbnails below and I'll see you there.